Welcome to This Week in Taiwan. I'm Iris Xu. Every Saturday, we break down the biggest stories making headlines across the country. From politics and policy to culture and the unexpected. Whether you are tuning in from Taipei or halfway around the world, we've got you covered with what you need to know to stay in the loop. Taiwan is home to 23 million people, and you might think what happens on this small island doesn't affect you. But in reality, it is quite the contrary. From geopolitics to global supply chains, Taiwan is more connected to your life than you might expect. So let's get into this week's news and see just how interconnected we really are. In response to the fallout after Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's remarks over Taiwan issue earlier this month, Deputy Foreign Minister Ambassador Francois Wu told the legislature that the ministry's primary task is to de-escalate. He emphasized that the most important step to safeguard Taiwan's security is to strengthen relations with allies, deter war, and jointly defend regional peace, calling it the ministry's most important responsibility. Concerning Takaichi's remarks, Wu said in a pre-meeting interview that for national leaders, the most important thing is national security. This is also true for Taiwan, although the Foreign Ministry is not in the position to comment on Japan's action to safeguard its own national security. Both sides, however, share the goal of reducing conflict. Wu pointed to Taiwan's growing pool of friends in Europe, saying that their help was crucial to deter the outbreak of war, which requires cooperation across all aspects. A Foreign Ministry report pointed out Japan's continued use of strategic ambiguity on what would constitute either a Taiwan emergency or existential crisis. In practice, such a thing would be multi-staged, involving a wide range of scenarios, and the Japanese response would be influenced by many factors, including political judgment, the U.S. stance, and domestic public opinion. Therefore, the ministry said Takaichi's remarks cannot directly be interpreted as Japan will defend Taiwan. A National Security Bureau report also pointed out that the new Takaichi cabinet is strengthening security capabilities, focusing on cooperation with the United States. The U.S.-Japan alliance serves as an axis, with increasing coordinated operations with international and regional allies to build maritime capabilities and strengthen deterrence capabilities on the whole. The United States has reported the world's first death from H5N5 avian influenza. Washington State's Health Department officials confirmed that on Friday, November 21st, a Grays Harbor County resident passed away after contracting the virus. Taiwan Health Minister Shi Hongliang responded that according to the U.S. CDC assessment, H5N5 transmission is currently limited to those with exposure to birds, with a low risk of passing human to human. The Washington state officials say that the victim was elderly and had pre-existing medical conditions. They also reported that the disease maintained domestic birds in their backyard, which they suspect was the likely source of infection, as birds shed the virus in their saliva, mucus, and feces. However, this has not yet been confirmed, and authorities are tracing other possible points of exposure and monitoring close contacts.
This is
a new variant of the virus, and according to U.S. CDC investigations and evaluations, there is no risk of human-to-human transmission. The organization remains focused on avian-to-human transmission. The U.S. CDC will continue to closely monitor and report subsequent developments. However, since it is now the winter migratory bird season, we urge the public to avoid contact with birds when traveling.
Taiwan CDC spokesperson Zheng Suhui assured that they will also continue to monitor for other risks. She said that due to another novel influenza case that appeared in Washington, D.C. in April of this year, they raised the travel advisory level for Washington, D.C. to level 1 caution, where it remains. The CDC will raise their travel advisory level further if necessary, depending on the developments. Novel influenza A viruses are declared when a type of flu can infect humans, but is different from seasonal strands, like H1N1 or H3N2, that circulate each year. These viruses are often of avian or swine origin and can cause a range of illnesses from mild to severe, including pneumonia and respiratory distress. They pose a public health concern due to their potential to cause a pandemic if they gain the ability to spread easily from person to person.
Taiwan outlined its defense priorities in a Washington Post opinion piece published Tuesday. President Lai Ching-te detailed 4 strategic areas amid regional security challenges: deepening partnerships in the Indo-Pacific and beyond, making the largest military investments in Taiwan's modern history, expanding the domestic defense industry, and firmly safeguarding national sovereignty. Lai's column emphasizes the government's plan to propose an additional $40 billion defense budget. The funds would support major United States arms acquisitions and strengthen Taiwan's asymmetric warfare capabilities to enhance deterrence, he states. In a radio interview Wednesday, National Security Council Deputy Secretary General Lin Feifan said the country urgently needs to develop asymmetric capabilities to counter potential threats. He noted the key is expanding investment, including applications of AI, unmanned systems, and integrating hardware and software. Lin described the initiative as part of Taiwan's T-Dome defense strategy. While Taiwan already operates multiple missile defense layers comparable to other nations, the core of T-Dome is integrating those systems to efficiently allocate resources, he explained. Lai's Washington Post column has drawn positive reactions from U.S. officials, including Robert O'Brien, a former national security advisor under President Donald Trump, who called the publication a major win for Taiwan on X. Retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery praised Lai's piece as a true peace through strength initiative and said the effort deserves full U.S. support. The U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee also shared Lai's column via X, describing the proposed defense budget as a huge stride for Taiwan's security and the broader Indo-Pacific. They said the move demonstrates Taiwan is a key partner, willing to invest substantial resources to counter regional threats. As China continues to suppress Taiwan's participation in international organizations, United States congressmen have recently introduced a bill requiring the Secretary of State to develop a strategy ensuring Taiwan's inclusion in Interpol. The bill includes provisions on the necessity of including Taiwan in international crime-fighting cooperation and the consequences of not including Taiwan as a member on global security. Republican Congressman Lance Gooden introduced the Taiwan Interpol Endorsement and Inclusion Act last Friday. Co-sponsors include Democratic Representatives Brad Sherman and Ted Lieu and Republican Representatives Pete Sessions and Tom Tiffany. Gooden stated in a press release that the bill reflects the United States' long-standing policy of supporting Taiwan's participation in international organizations. He noted that Taiwan has always played a key role in global peace and security initiatives, and said its inclusion would fill gaps in the global security network and enhance the effectiveness of international law enforcement cooperation. Interpol, founded in September 1923 and headquartered in France, is the world's largest police cooperation platform dedicated to combating and preventing crime. Its purpose is to ensure and promote cooperation among national law enforcement agencies worldwide. Taiwan was forced to withdraw in 1984 after China applied to join, and while Taiwan has repeatedly sought to participate in Interpol's General Assembly as an observer, it continues to be excluded. Taiwan is delivering a 4th batch of emergency vehicles to Ukraine for a total of 208 ambulances, fire trucks, 4-wheel drive service vehicles, rehabilitation buses, and flatbed trailers donated by Taiwan. Taiwan sent its first batch of 48 vehicles in June 2023 and the second batch of 38 and third batch of 54 in October 2023. The 4th batch is the largest, with 68 vehicles, including 56 ambulances and 12 fire trucks. The Reverend Lin Weilian, Taiwan Association of Community Advancement Secretary General, said his association has been entrusted with assisting in international relief missions since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Lin revealed that the most challenging issue for the fourth shipment has been transportation costs. As private donations have decreased in recent years, the fourth shipment almost couldn't be sent due to insufficient funds, and it was only through the mediation of DPP legislator Huang Xiufang and the assistance of the Foreign Ministry that the shipment was completed, he explained. Lin stated that a memorandum of understanding was signed with Lviv, Ukraine that detailed Taiwan would cover transportation from Taiwan to Lviv, while the Lviv city government would handle transportation within Ukraine. Lviv Mayor Andriy Sadovi traveled to Taiwan to meet with personnel regarding the matter, allowing them to facilitate the cooperation, Lin noted. Legislator Huang said she mainly assisted TACA in negotiations with the Foreign Ministry, National Fire Agency, and local fire departments, providing administrative assistance to make the donation process smoother. Taiwan announced a comprehensive national security plan aimed at safeguarding the island's democracy and enhancing its defense capabilities amid growing pressure from Beijing on Tuesday. President Lai Ching-te convened a high-level meeting at the presidential office and explained the National Security Action Plan for Safeguarding Democratic Taiwan, designed to address what Lai described as unprecedented threats to Taiwan's sovereignty and freedoms. Lai was joined by the Vice President, the Premier, and senior officials, including National Security Council Secretary General Joseph Wu and Defense Minister Wellington Koo at the briefing. Lai underscored how the plan seeks to firmly defend national sovereignty and build a democratic defense mechanism. He said it calls for the establishment of permanent task forces to counter Beijing's influence, employing international and domestic communications, historical narratives, and legal measures to demonstrate Taiwan's resolve. The government will monitor and respond to potential Chinese interference during major policy initiatives and elections, ensuring the flow of accurate information to strengthen national identity and internal unity, said Lai. Authorities will continue implementing strategies to counter political infiltration and accelerate relevant legislation to reinforce national security. The plan also emphasizes strengthening Taiwan's defense capabilities and developing its defense industry. Lai stressed that peace requires strength, advocating investment in autonomous defense and joint deterrence strategies. He outlined a focus on prevention, resilience, and technological modernization to achieve high combat readiness by 2027, build a fully resilient deterrence force by 2033, and ultimately create permanent capabilities to protect democratic Taiwan. Lai argued, democracy is not a provocation, and Taiwan's existence is not an excuse for aggression. He called upon the government, all political parties, and all citizens to unite to safeguard the nation and freedoms of Taiwanese people.
And that's it for This Week in Taiwan. Until next time.